Welcome to the News Hour. Well, emergency workers in Western Germany and Belgium are searching for hundreds of people believed to be missing after devastating floods which followed days of heavy rain. So far, more than 160 people are confirmed to have died, but as the floodwaters slowly recede, that figure is likely to rise. In the German town of Erstadt, the scale of the disaster is slowly being revealed. Rescuers have spent the day searching submerged vehicles for anyone who didn't make it out alive. Step Varsen has our report.
It was rush hour when the water quickly inundated highway number 265 near Erstadt, catching unexpected drivers and passengers by surprise. Soldiers and rescue workers tried to reach trapped cars, finding out if everyone made it out in time.
We hope that they made it out of their cars, but we are not sure. And we can't guarantee that there are perhaps people in the cars. We could not check all cars. And if you see the quality of the water, also the check with divers is of no use.
Looking at how challenging it is to free this one highway, it becomes clear that recovery will take time.
It's hard to imagine the panic of people stuck in traffic when the road suddenly filled up with water. Reinforcements have now come from all over Germany because not only were residents completely taken by surprise by the floods, they also completely overwhelmed government services.
During his visit to Erfstadt, German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier told survivors they will get help, but have to be patient.
Und diese Hilfe, die zugesagt ist, soll auch gelten für die Gemeinden.
And this help that has been promised should also be for the communities who in the next days and weeks won't only have to clear up the damage, but will also have to rebuild everything, the roads that are destroyed, the bridges that have been swept away. And that is why it is good that such support has been agreed.
A landslide buried at least 3 houses in Erfstadt and damaged others. This woman lost her son, who was swept away by the mud flow. His body has yet to be recovered. She and other residents are anxiously begging authorities to allow them to return.
We have nothing. We were evacuated and I only took a few things. I think it will take 4 to 6 weeks before I can go back. There is no electricity, no water, no gas. The whole infrastructure is down.
Help is pouring in from across Germany for those who had to leave their homes in a hurry with only the clothes they were wearing. People who were lucky enough not to be affected are volunteering to help.
We have clothes, shoes for men, women and children, everything they need. It's great to see how much support is coming in.
The outpouring of solidarity gives hope to those who have not only lost their loved ones, homes or belongings, but also their belief that their town was a safe place to live. Step Varsen, Jazeera, Erfstadt, Germany.
Meanwhile, in Belgium, at least 27 people there have died since flooding began on Wednesday. More than 100 people, though, are still unaccounted for. Troops have been sent into 4 of the country's 10 provinces to help with rescue and evacuation efforts. Natasha Butler reports now from the city of Liège, where most of the victims have been found.
There's not much to save for some residents in this neighbourhood of the Belgian city of Liège. Most furniture and appliances are ruined, cars wrecked. The floodwaters that have caused so much damage have finally subsided, but the clean-up has only just begun.
The water covered the cupboards.
Pascal is still shaken. Rising waters had forced her and her teenage daughter to climb onto their roof, where they were stranded overnight until a neighbour helped rescue them. She says it's only once they were safe that reality struck.
We have nothing left, no home, no furniture or clothes. It's so hard, but I say to myself, at least I saved my child. As a mother, that's the most important.
It will be some time before residents in neighbourhoods like this one come to terms with what has happened. But what is lifting spirits is the fact that so many people have come here and rallied around to help. Handing out food and water or lending a hand. On nearly every affected street, volunteers.
It's about solidarity, supporting people to show they aren't alone with this devastation. When they see all these young people coming to help them during their summer holidays, well, it's just amazing and heartwarming.
Belgium's Prime Minister visited the town of Rochefort. He's called the floods unprecedented, but this scientist says climate change is to blame.
The rainfall was of course exceptional, but all of our climate data shows that it could happen again in the future.
Emergency workers continue to move people from areas and homes considered unsafe. As they reach regions that were cut off by floodwaters, they say they may find more bodies, as dozens of people are missing. The hope here, though, is that they'll find survivors. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Liège, Belgium.
Well, scientists have long warned that climate change will lead to heavier downpours, but it'll be some time before we know if it played a role in the flooding across Europe. Researchers say a 1-degree rise in average global temperatures increases the atmosphere's capacity to hold water by 7%, raising the chance of heavy rainfall events like this one. The average global temperature is now about 1.2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average. Modelling of more than 400 weather events, from storms to droughts and heat waves, has found that 70% were made more likely or more severe by human-caused climate change. They say that events like the recent record-breaking heat wave in the US and Canada are at least 150 times more likely to occur because of climate change. Well, Geert Jan van Oldenburg is a senior researcher at the Dutch Royal Meteorological Institute. He joins us now from the Netherlands via Skype. So I'm sure you've had a chance to reflect on the human toll of what we've just seen playing out in Western Germany and Belgium. Many lives have been lost, people are still missing, and then these scenes of devastation of infrastructure, roads, bridges, houses, all completely destroyed. How do you explain the intensity of what we've seen?
Well, of course, the impact is just horrendous. I had never expected to have that many casualties in an event so close by, a flooding event. And we have a collaboration called World Weather Attribution, and we aim to find the connection to climate change to these kind of extreme events on relatively short timescales. And we just finished the heat in the Northwest and Northern America like a week ago. But we will probably decide tomorrow to take this on as well, because it's just so big.
When you say it's just so big, how does it compare to past weather events? Because we know that in places like Germany, Belgium, certainly here in the UK, your country, the Netherlands, you probably have some sort of rain in the summer anyway. How does what we've just seen compare to the sort of patterns of the past?
Well, I don't have the full data yet. I'm right now busy downloading and converting the German rain data, and I've requested the Belgium rain data. One measure is that the peak in the runoff of the discharge of the River Meuse in the Netherlands is the highest ever observed. And that is just from the Belgium part of the precipitation. In Germany was much worse.
Will this extreme flooding happen on a regular basis? Do you think that people, and perhaps more importantly, governments and certainly local governments, provincial authorities, need to somehow prepare and build up resilience? Could this happen every year?
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, every year, definitely not. It's such a rare event. The problem is that, yes, there is this background raising of the bar all through the world of this 7% per degree. And there's recent research by my colleague Haley Fowler from Newcastle that the depressions moves more slowly and can dump more rain at the same place for a longer time, so also increasing the rain. But when we did, for instance, a study of the Elbe floods of 2012, we could find no influence of climate change. Apparently, there are other factors that depressed the number again. And so it really depends on the region, on the season, whether there is an increase that is the kind of global average of 7% per degree or a bit more because of this stalling of depressions, or whether there are factors that actually increase it, like Hurricane Harvey over Houston, which was 15%, or there are other factors that decrease it to 0%. We just don't know until we've done the calculations.
So in that sense, if you say that in some cases there are other factors, so it's not just about collecting evidence on the pressure that human beings are putting on the climate system. If the
No.
Sorry.
I meant that there are other effects of climate change
knock-on
that
effects
can reinforce or counteract the Clausius Club rule 7% per degree.
Can I just to be clear then, how is human activity making things worse? How are we contributing to more extreme weather patterns and their more regular occurrence?
Well, we're emitting lots of CO2 and methane and other greenhouse gases, and that raises the global mean temperature. And because the atmosphere is warmer, it can hold more water. And it has been shown that for extreme short duration rain events like one day, that also means that more water comes down in extreme showers like these. But there are other indirect effects, like there's also evidence that the jet stream is slowing down in the summer, and hence the depressions don't move so quickly and can dump more rain on the same place, basically because they're just staying there for longer and the rain lasts for longer and you get more water down. And there are other effects, like in Colorado, there's more chance of high pressure and hence you have less chance of rain. And we have to take all of these effects into account before we can say how much this was due to climate change.
Are there certain trends in place, though, that are difficult to reverse now? If, for example, human activity was to suddenly change and emissions were to rapidly decline, would it make any difference?
Well, it would stay at the current high level, so we get more heat waves, which are also really deadly. I mean, many hundreds of people, possibly thousands of people died in the heat wave of 3 weeks ago. So we're stuck with that for sure. And because emissions will only go to zero very slowly, I mean, they're still at 2.5, the CO2 concentration is still rising, not going down. Or the increase is still rising. As long as we emit fossil fuels, the temperature will go up, it will not go down. So we're stuck what we have now, and we're stuck with probably a lot more before we go to net zero.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us on the NewsHour tonight. Geert Jan van Oldenburg joining us there from the Dutch Royal Meteorological Institute. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name too badly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
With the NewsHour live from London, still ahead for you on the programme. Thailand's government is